Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. As promised, I'm going to give you, well, I was hoping by now to give you a bit of an after-action report with the mission over, but I'm afraid I've been involved in some rather desperate struggles with my cat to try and keep him away from the game board, and that has slowed me down quite a bit. So instead of a triumphant after-action report for our bombing raid to attempt to destroy the bridge at Sedan, this is more by way of an interim report. Now, this scenario is beginning to grow on me a little bit because having been thoroughly thrashed as the British the first time, I'm still getting thrashed in this one, but I seem to be doing a tiny bit better. I hope I'm not cursing myself to say that, but by saying this. Now, I've got a high level view of the field at the moment, and I'll very briefly explain what's going on, but then I'm going to zoom in because there's lots of little disparate actions going on all over the map now. So, that bit there, disappearing under all those explosions, I'm sad to say, is the British infantry and armour force trying to drive the Germans back and push them off their beachhead. There's a bit of a tussle going on there. There's a very isolated one going on there. There is the beginnings of one over here, and there, of course, is the target. Now, I think I'll start on the German side and move back towards the British lines. If I just zoom in here, that is the extremely heavily defended bridge at Sedan, which the Germans are quite happily pouring across. We don't seem to be able to stop them. Now, that is a lot of flak they've got there. And the only reason they're not putting up a barrage is because by sheer good fortune, well, I say sheer good fortune, my wave of Blenheims appears to have got rather badly tangled with the oncoming German formations. Now, the lead Blenheim squadron is in the process of being ripped up by one of those German squadrons. The other one, Squadron F, badly failed its tally rolls and still has not tallied any of the British bombers, but it's managed to lead its Stukas, who are heading towards the British lines, straight into this little melee over here, so God alone knows how that's going to play out. Meanwhile, in another surprising example of short-sightedness, yet more Bf 109s are overhead, but amazingly, they have failed to tally the bombers, so they're still heading for their vector. Now, the bad news is the next time they roll for tally, they are linked on their radio net to Squadron C, so Squadron C will be able to attempt to alert them to the presence of the British bombers. That probably isn't going to end well. Moving westwards, this is the remnants of a rather one-sided fight, an embarrassing one-sided fight between a German flight and one of my squadrons of Hurricanes. Now, those 4 German fighters have thoroughly thrashed their British opposite numbers, and I mean really badly. I'll give you a look at the casualties. So, German Flight O has very recently been oh no, I got them the wrong way around. German Flight O is over there. So they've run out of ammo and they're a bit disrupted, but otherwise they're fine. And the squadron they've been beating up, British Squadron J, they've inflicted humiliating losses on them and they are pursuing them back to base. It's not much fun for them, I'm afraid. I mean, really, you'd have thought the Germans would let them go, but they must know that they've got more fighters incoming, so they're well covered. Meanwhile, the final strange action down here. Thankfully, the fairy battles drifting overhead towards the bridge over yonder have so far not been interfered with. There was another flight of Germans, the other half of that squadron, which was up here, but thankfully this newly arrived squadron of Hurricanes, which was really going after the Stukas before they got jumped, managed to inflict disproportionate losses on the Germans, which was a bit of a change. Throughout this scenario, the dice gods have been favouring the German side, And so it was a bit of a sea change to see these hurricanes not only fight them off, but in a single round shoot down three of the four attacking fighters. So we have been very badly bloodied, and it's probably going to get worse. I mean, those battles have a long way to go. And if those hurricanes exhaust themselves on those Junkers Stuka dive bombers, it could go badly for the fairy battles. In a way, I'm wondering whether it's worth the hurricanes continuing to pursue the Stukas, because they have dropped their bombs. And I'm sorry to say they have thoroughly messed up our side. So it gives you a bit of an idea of how badly I did the first time round when I played this mission. That by comparison, this one's actually going rather well. But I will play it to a conclusion and we will see what happens. It has been a very bloody day. You saw one of the German flights. Basically, everyone except the expert has been shot down, and he's very sensibly returning to base. But the other German formations are largely untouched. The British have suffered horribly. I mean, Squadron G has lost three planes and another damage. Squadron 4 has had four Hurricanes shot down. One of the Blenheims has been downed already, so no matter what else happens today, it will end up being a bloody day for the British. But, you know, I console myself with the thought that it was a pretty horrendous day on that awful day in 1940. So I'm trying to do better, but we'll see whether I actually manage it. Stay tuned for as long as I'm still in the sky, which may not be for very long. As ever, thank you ever so much for joining me. Much appreciate your company. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you found the thoughts, or at the very least, the thoughts interesting and my desperate cries for help amusing. Thank you all. Bye.